What's up, guys? A couple of weeks ago I told you in I think the first video that I don't know what this channel is necessarily going to look like, and I'm starting to kind of figure it out, but I told you that I'm going to tell you a lot about some things that I've learned in my life that I'm continuing to learn, and this is actually a video about a time that I have failed. And you'll probably see a lot of those videos, over the next year or two or however long this goes, but I wanted to just kind of talk about something that I failed at, but I needed a little bit of a reminder, and I think you might need it too at some point in your life, whether it's now or later. So let's do that. I told you all that I'm a senior at Johnson, and I'm getting a degree in preaching and church leadership and youth ministry and Bible and all this stuff. And I'm really excited to graduate. It's kind of scary, but I'm excited. But I'm also sad to leave my friends. You know what that's like if you've been to college or you had to move or whatever that looks like. But I remember at the beginning of my senior year, which was just a couple months ago, I kept telling people that would ask me the question, what are you going to do when you graduate? Well, I always knew that I was going to do ministry, but I didn't know exactly where it was going to happen. But I kept telling people, you know what, I'm not really worried about it because God's got it and He's going to do something. He's going to give me a job. He's going to do that. I'm not even worried. I feel like I should be stressed, and a lot of people are usually stressed. They're putting out applications, they're putting out resumes, all this kind of stuff. But I felt like, maybe God, I felt like God's going to actually do something, and I'm not going to have to sit back and worry over and over, day in and day out, about where I'm going to work, because God's going to provide that. That was a couple months ago. That was easy. That was about 10 months away from me having to move away from college. It was an easy thing for me to say. God's got it. I'm not too worried about it. God's going to provide something. But as the months have gone on, I see people, starting to talk to churches, friends that are starting to talk to different, places that they're going to work. I'm starting to think, oh, I'm going to graduate soon. I got to figure out where I'm going to live. I need to find where I'm going to have money. I need to do all these things. I got loans that are going to come up here at the end of the year from college. So I need to have a job that's going to be able to pay for all these different things, where I'm going to live, my loans, just everyday stuff. Over Christmas break, I kept saying, God's got it. I don't have to worry about this. He's going to give me a job no matter what. Well, as January comes around the corner, the semester starts, my last semester of college, I start to freak out. I start stressing out. I don't know, where I'm going to live in a couple months. I don't know where I'm going to work in a couple months. I've got student loans I got to pay. I've got all these different things that I have to do here in a couple months. I got to figure out a place where I'm going to live. There's so many things that just go into graduating college that's super frustrating. And if any of you all that are in college or have graduated from college, you know the feeling that I'm going through right now. And I'm starting to see, a couple friends that are getting interviews with other places, or they already have something lined up at the end of graduation, and I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I went from a time back in August at the beginning of my senior year that said, you know what, God's got me. God's gonna put me in a place that He wants me to be in, and I'm trusting that He's going to do that for me by the time I graduate. Well, as time starts to go on and I start getting into, January, I start questioning and I start doubting that God's actually big enough to do what I had trusted that He was gonna do just a couple of months ago. I forgot to trust God. And it's crazy to me to think that I forgot to trust God because I had trusted that He was going to before. But now when things start getting hard, I start to lose my trust. I start to lose the faith that He's actually going to do something in my life here in a couple of months. So a couple of nights ago, I went to Starbucks with my girlfriend, Maddie, and which is something we do probably way too much, but we get there and I start talking to her about jobs, and I start, wondering, where am I going to go? What am I going to do here in a couple of months? And I start stressing out, I start freaking out, and she's like, hold up, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? Shouldn't I be stressed out about this? Shouldn't I be, freaking out? I'm only just a couple months away from graduating. I need to find a place to go. And she said something that, kind of made me mad in the moment, but it was true. And it's something that I needed to hear. And so many times we have to do this with people that follow Jesus, our friends that follow Jesus. We just have to, drop a truth bomb on them or whatever you want to call it. She said, Matt, when did you go from trusting to not trusting? You remember where you were back in August and throughout last semester? Where did that go? Where you need to go back to that moment. And when she said that, I was very frustrated. I was like, oh, come on, that this is stressful, I don't really know, how to handle this situation. This is really frustrating to me. But she said, you need to trust again. You need to trust that He actually has a plan for you. Do you believe that, He's not going to give you something? Because that's not who you are. That's not how you believe. You believe that God will work in your life, but since this has become a thing that you're stressed out and you don't have anything yet, you're just gonna throw all of that away. And she was right. I really needed that wake-up call so that I could trust that God was going to do something awesome. But here's the truth. I left that conversation feeling better because I knew that God had my back, that God was going to do something in my life. But the truth is that it's still hard. It's still hard to wake up every day and know that God's going to give you a place, even though there's not necessarily a whole lot of lead and a whole lot of depth into a single place. It's hard to trust that He's going to do that, but I know that that's the only thing that I can do right now. There's nothing that I can do that's going to change my situation except trust and pray that God is actually going to do something in my life. And I don't know how many of you all need to hear this. I don't know whether you're a college senior and you don't know where you're going to go, but I want you to know that you can trust God with that. I don't know if you're a high school kid that's trying to figure out where to go to college, but I just want to remind you that you can trust God with that, and He's not scared for you to tell Him that you're scared. Or maybe some of you are struggling financially and you don't know where the next paycheck is going to come. Sometimes I feel that way, especially in college, and I just have to trust that God is going to provide for me. Listen, I know it's not easy. I mean, I just failed at it, to be honest. And it's not an easy thing to do, but sometimes all we can do is trust that God is going to do something bigger than anything that I could ever do in my own life. A year and a half ago, I was struggling with something in my life, and one of my mentors, Matt Cross, who I used to work with, he's a pastor of Surf Church. He told me, hey, I want you to imagine and envision you taking your issue and just laying it at the foot of the cross. Laying at the foot of the cross where Jesus died for you, and take a step back and just say, all right, if you can die on the cross for me, you can handle my situation. And whenever I was able to do that and fully surrender and fully trust that God was going to do something in my life, that's when I had peace about it. That's when I knew that God was going to do something incredible. And I still struggle with that. I envision myself, taking this job search and all this and putting it at the foot of the cross. And as hard as it is to trust, I know that I should, and I know that I'm called to. And I know that I want to, because He is bigger than anything that I can do. And if I had tried to do it on my own, I would probably end up in the wrong place, and I probably wouldn't be doing what He wanted me to do. So I wanted to just kind of give you this video today, just as a reminder that if something's going on in your life and you have a decision that you got to make, or something's just going on and it's hard, you don't really know the next step, just trust God. Trust God. If you all need help with whatever, you need to talk or whatever, you can actually comment down below and I'll reach out to you. You can go to my social media sites and DM me or whatever, and I will have a conversation with you. I'll give you my phone number. We can talk. I want to be able to help you because I needed that reminder myself. I needed someone to remind me and say, hey, you need to trust God and you need to give it all to Him, not just a partial part of it, but you need to trust that He is the Lord of all of your life, not just a part of it. So thanks guys for checking out this week's video. I hope that it gave you a little bit of an encouragement. Comment down below, like and subscribe, do all the things you're supposed to do on YouTube, and I'll see y'all next week.